Now I would like to introduce this lovely couple, Sandy.
Hello.
She is my countryman. Her family comes from Holland, as does my family. She's a second generation, right? Generation. My parents came over in 1950, probably around the same grandparents came over. And then I was born in 1951, right here in the Royal Columbian Hospital. So I did survive one visit to the hut, so I'm still here. And next to Sandy is Jose Teruel.
Hi, everybody.
And Jose, you are from Valencia,
Exactly.
España.
Exactly.
You know, when he and I met the first time, it was like meeting a long lost brother.
Yeah.
Because I spent time, as you know, I learned how to say th instead of sear to my heart.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we love it there. My wife and I were there about 5 years ago, and we traveled. We landed in Madrid, rented a car. We drove to Valencia, and then down to Malaga, and then down to Gibraltar, which belongs to Spain, not to Great Britain, right?
Exactly. We wish.
The rock belongs. Don't worry, one day it will be yours. And then we slipped across to Morocco because we'd never been to Africa. So I can now say officially I spent one day in Africa. So a wonderful trip, thoroughly enjoyed it. And Sandy and Jose have a company called Spain Gourmet Canada. Did I say it correctly?
Yes.
Said perfectly fine.
All right. And they are you able to see the product in the video? You are.
Yes.
Okay. So they are importing a line of olive oil and other products from Spain. So why don't you folks, you got to try this product.
Bring it closer though, maybe.
Okay, a little closer. How's that?
Yeah, just hold it closer.
All right. How's that?
That's good.
Okay. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your products?
So thank you so much for giving us this wonderful opportunity to explain more about Spanish olive oil, a little bit of our history. So Sandy and I, we started this of importing foods from Spain like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because when I the first time to Canada, I saw in the Canadian South I couldn't see Spanish olive oils.
No.
So coming from a country that produces 60% of the world olive oil.
Really?
Exactly.
So it's not Italy. Whoa. Okay.
So Italy is the first world importer of oil.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something that was like, for me, really strange. For me, it was a lack of like, oh my God, how is possible that Spain produces around 60% of the world olive oil? Canadian sales, we don't have barely any olive oil from Spain.
Right.
And we decided to, at the beginning, we wanted to import from my own hometown.
Yeah.
But from Valencia.
Now, do they have olive trees there?
We do have, but we don't have massive production So at the end, Sandy and I, we were traveling through the whole, because in my town they are not prepared to export to overseas.
Yeah.
And we traveled through all the south of Spain, and we found this. We were talking with a lot of producers, lots of companies, and I went to working with Olivar de Segura.
Mm-hmm.
And Olivar de Segura, can you explain more about Olivar de Segura?
Yeah, so we wanted to represent an olive oil in the Canadian market, organic, because we're very passionate about organic foods. And we know that the organic trend is always growing in Canada and becoming more popular. So out of all the wonderful supply we saw, we came to one co-op. So it was made of thousands of small family farms. There could be hundreds, it could be thousands. In this case, Jaén, the world's largest producing region of olive oil. This co-op happened to have 4,000 family farmers as members of their co-op.
And how large would each farm be, just average?
Any between, I would say, 300 to 3,000 trees.
Trees.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not only that, we were super impressed that this co-op happened to be in a natural, and the natural park is protected by UNESCO.
Wow.
It's they've been organic farming for 30 years, so before it was even, and they started organic farming basically to protect a lot of the bird species, very special birds. There's over 700 bird species in that area.
Wow.
And as well as bees, and you know, it's important, wonderful environment for certain types of animals, very unique species. So they started farming long time ago, over 30 years ago.
Wow.
So we're very impressed with that. It's a very special, unique variety that actually grows in that. It's very mountainous, that area. It's a little bit further inland from the Mediterranean, so mountain olive oil, not a coastal olive oil. So
what would be the difference between a mountain olive oil and a coastal?
it's like the mountain olive oils, the mountain trees, the alpine, they grow in higher altitudes. They have to withstand sure weather conditions.
Okay.
So they tend to be a little bit stronger tasting.
Mhm.
A little they you know, the trees are growing amongst alpine trees. They're growing in higher altitudes, so they kind of they're a little bit stronger green in flavor, more green in taste. So you can really kind of, they almost have like a more bitter quality.
Yeah.
But that means more polyphenols, more antioxidants.
Yeah.
The variety we use for this olive oil is called Picual.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has a blend of other olive varieties in that area, but it is like a 90% Picual.
Okay.
So you can realize the kind of like stronger flavors of that olive oil.
And I like that. I mean, I this oil is, I could almost just, you know, take a sip straight out of the bottle. It is tasty. And it has a very unique flavor, almost like wine. You know, it's comparing with wine, right? Different places that wine is produced. Olives would be the same, wouldn't it? It would have distinct regions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you know, like if you have like a handful of olives and they're all different, and some are black and some are green, some are big and some taste different?
Yes.
It'll be the same with olive oil. All olive oil have a slightly different taste depending on the variety.
Yeah. And one thing I noticed is that you can cook with this oil. Any other olive oil,
Absolutely.
you just look at it and it starts smoking. I've used it, you know, to fry a few things in it, and whatever, nice.
That is really controversial for every single day, for your salads,
Yeah.
for your veggies, for absolutely everything. The
Yeah.
price point is fantastic because we believe that everybody has the right
Yes.
to have an accessible product, and no better place than Surrey Natural Foods.
Thank you.
It's a good price also because this company just has the production. They have such a big production. So within this co-op, they actually have 12 different.
Oh.
So that, because they do have a small amount of conventional, they do have very organic production, and then they have other harvests that are made for early harvest.
Yeah.
Early harvest, when they harvest early in October when the olives are very ripe and green.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find those are always expensive, and it's because they are more difficult to harvest.
Okay.
And
what are those used for?
so those are just a little bit more unique and special. They might have a little bit of they have a full fat, maybe a little bit less peppery and bitter.
Mm-hmm.
And they can be used for cooking as well, depending again.
Yeah.
But a lot of people they just have such a rich flavor. So generally we'll pay a little bit more for those, and they will reuse those maybe for just their salads or for bread dipping, where they really can taste it. Whereas like this is a regular harvest, it's made for everyday cooking.
Okay.
Could you hold it up and closer?
Yeah.
There we go.
So I will mention that we did make a few upgrades to coming up, because a lot of consumers have told us by looking at the bottle they don't have the information we're giving them. And if you'll notice, with some of the more high-end olive oils, they generally will tell you that this one is for salads. And you know, when you see that, is because like certain varieties are not really designed. They don't have the high stability to heat and oxidation that say Picual, that have a softer tasting profile.
Yeah.
Whereas like you might just want to use those for either light sauteing for bread dipping and salads. If once you get used to stronger flavor though, it's hard to kind of use anything else after that. You get used to the taste in your cooking, dipping, and your salad dressings.
Yes. Great. Now, there's a lot of controversy of olive oil as well. Maybe not as much as about vaccines, but why don't you give us a little background? I was looking, that's called extra virginity. It talks about all the different ways that olive oil is being corrupted, and that you might be getting and looks all really good and wonderful, but it may not be the real. So, what do you tell us a little bit about what's going on in that area?
So we had the chance to buy that book in your store a few months ago. It's a wonderful book that explains all controversy in the olive oil food industry. So basically, what is happening is like this industry is basically controlled by its.
Mm-hmm.
So Italians they have the domination of the whole entire market.
Really?
With a production of like 12 or 15% of the world olive oil, right? Something.
Yeah.
So basically, and the book explains corporations.
Yes.
They manage the world olive oil, way that they buy. They mix all different kind of olive oils from the north of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Very controversial. Back in the past, there used to be some companies that they were putting other oils into the olive oil. And
So let me ask you, because this comes up in maple syrup field, in the honey field.
Yeah.
When you find a cheap product that may say organic, etc., you don't know where it's from. Could be coming from many like as you said, from countries as far apart as Greece or Tunisia and Spain, etc. So when you blend together, what's the disadvantage of that?
So, disadvantages is that the products are more oxidized.
Yes. And what does that mean?
That means is, so, like, for example, Olive Verde Segura or any measure, the idea is get the product from harvest to the bottle quickly as possible.
Uh-huh.
Because, basically, like most vegetables, the number one enemy to olive oil is light, heat, and oxygen.
Uh-huh.
It's like the same as vegetables. As soon as you harvest any vegetable, the oxygen starts to kind of deteriorate the vegetable, and you start to lose nutrients like almost immediately. And it's the same with olive oil. So you want to protect it from that oxygen as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So like when we are in Spain, in the south of Spain, you see big tankers filling up their tanks and shipping product and all kinds of other countries.
So a tanker would pull up into an olive-grown olive mill.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's called? A mill or a press?
Yeah.
And up however many hundred thousands of liters, and then head off to Italy, which could be 2 or 3, 2 days or whatever on the road.
Up to
6 days.
In a big tank that it was loaded before with who knows what.
Yeah. And heat, sun shining, all
Exactly.
kinds. Okay.
Yeah.
So they use Spanish olive oil, then they use varieties from the north of Africa.
Yeah.
So that's really controversial because sometimes you can see in the Canadian supermarkets, you can see olive oils way cheaper than you can find even in Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find olive oils in below $6 a liter.
Yeah.
That means like €3, 3.5 the actual exchange.
Yeah.
So if you go to Spain and you buy this olive oil in the co-op, it's actually €5. So basically, it doesn't make any single sense. Those prices, they don't represent the reality. So something is happening here.
Yeah. Something is rotten in Denmark, as Shakespeare said.
Well, Italy actually lost up to 40% of their harvest due to an insect and frost.
Yes.
So now be careful. Olive oil should be at least 40% higher on the shelf this year, and everybody, the cost of olive oil is going to go up. But we're not really seeing a big change in pricing.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, because I didn't wonder. Wow. Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but like even so on January 31st, so one blog came out because this whole kind of controversy came to light when 60 Minutes did a big expose on the olive oil industry, but that was 6 years ago.
Yes.
So when Jose and I first started and we were doing trade shows and demos, people come up to us, oh, minutes, is this mafia oil? And we would say, no, this is from Spain. It's from Beautiful Co-op. You're supporting small family farmers. And then a lot of stuff was thrown around the internet about 69% of the olive oil on the shelves being fake, or 30 or 40%. And, you know, a lot of people started to become really aware of it.
Yeah.
And when we tell people that Spain is the largest producer of olive oil, it's not really common knowledge.
I didn't
to be
know that.
honest.
This is a new discovery.
Yeah, and it's also the biggest exporter, and it mostly exports to other countries in Europe. Now, Spain more than ever, they want to be exporting the finished product into places like Canada.
Yeah.
So recently, another article was written in the Canadian about more fraud in olive, and it's basically because what happens is, and it even says that. Not something new. This happens in, like you said, in many different industries, in the food industry, and it's been happening for almost like thousands of just people not being able to afford the real thing or not being able to produce the real thing, so they look at it and kind of pass it off as a fake.
Yeah. So let me interrupt. Sorry, I've heard that they'll combine it with what? Peanut oil, sunflower oil,
Soy oil.
Soy oil. Are those true?
Yeah, that's what we've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2013, which is the last testing I could find that the Food Inspection Agency pulled samples off. They tested it in 2013. 99% of their testing had different oils in it, whether it was canola or whatever.
And that was 2013 was the last time they checked.
That's the last time. That's the last information.
Folks, take a look at that label. It says Oro de Geneve. How do you say that?
Oro de
Geneve, Oro de Geneve. The actual company is Olar de Segura. So 899. So look for this label, because this comes directly from this group directly to you. There's no middle handlers or anything. It is pressed and bottled on site. Am I correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And then this was from beautiful Spain.
Exactly.
You can't get better than that. And then when you look at the pricing, you know, I was selling an olive oil from eggs to people that make apple cider vinegar, and I had to sell a liter for $23 or something like that. And I just hoped it was good. So it really gives me a lot of comfort that this product that is sitting here in front of me is real deal. Now go ahead. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, Dean, in addition to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, the problem with Canadian Food Inspection Agency is like they are only able to check up to 3% of all the containers that they come from overseas.
Yeah.
Of all imported foods.
All the imported food. Sometimes
3%, folks.
So basically, they are more focused in the target other, like more like potential countries that they can be like.
Do I hear the name China? Good Lord, that's terrible. What goes on? What comes out of that country? It's really sad. Go ahead.
So anyway, I guess that we expect that Canadian Food Inspection Agency, they are the best.
Yes.
Of course, if they were more focused in olive oil, nowadays we found in the shelf they won't be.
Yeah.
And it's really going to really hope that in the future they check way more.
Yes.
A product that is for tons of families every single day's use for salads, for finishing, for tons of for tons of things.
And this brings me to a point that I belabor. I bring it up many times. No products are coming from. These big super are not doing you a favor, folks. All they're doing is providing you with cheap crap. You know, I have a saying, and I don't have the actual picture. I used to have it. I'm going to have to look for it. And it's a kind of farmer talk. I'm from a farming background. I milked cows and shoveled shit many, many years of my life. And we had a saying, and you see a picture of us with a bale of hay in front of it and a pile of poop behind it. It says, "Hay, $10 a bale. Hay that has gone through the horse is much cheaper." So you pay for it. And now actually, you know, horse manure is very, very good. It's very good for fertilizing, but not for using It should be not for using as as horse feed. So my point is this: you do yourself a disservice by buying that cheap product, honey, be it honey or maple. An educated consumer is able to discern and understand what is really good and what isn't. You can't be ripped off that easily. So this is a good example here with Jose and Sandy, where you are directly dealing with farmers, and I assume you've been there under the trees and pulled a few olives off, and
so many times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the things that we really enjoy, apart that we sell our products in Surrey Natural Food, is your advice. When you always explain to the people, when you give that wonderful advices on where the products come from, that is really that we really appreciate. And I think it's super unique. This is why we think that coming to this store is the best chance.
Thank you. We always have fun when we get together. And I'm hoping that you'll come and do a tasting in the near future.
Yeah.
Because now that we've had it, some of our customers have heard about this, and we'll arrange for maybe a Friday or a Saturday where you come in for a few hours.
Absolutely.
Every time I come, I tell you, the olive oil goes flying out the door. So we'll have to arrange.
No problem.
Yeah.
So I will be delightful to be here, spend an hour with you.
Yeah. And how about can we give away a bottle to listeners?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We can.
So how are we going to do this? All I'm going to ask you folks to just send a message. Message me through the Facebook page and say, I want Jose and Sandy's oil. All right? That's all you got. Say, I want Jose and Sandy's oil. And if we'll see how many responses we get. But I'm going to promise everyone who I want Jose and Sandy's olive oil in by 10 o'clock tonight, I'm going to promise you each a bottle of oil. How about that? All right? And it'll come out of my pocket or theirs. I really don't care. I really want you to try this. Now, what else have you got? Tell us about any other products that you're... Almonds. Let's talk almonds. Now, just a sec, because I can't look at my laptop. What time are we at right now? It'll give you up in the top corner how many minutes we've been going. All right, I'll just pop over and have a look. Excuse me, folks. Up here. What does that say there?
Oh, yeah.
What does it say?
36.
Oh, lots of time. 36 minutes? Right on. Okay, so tell us about some of your other products.
So 2 years in this industry, Sandy and I, we decided for also almonds. Almonds is a big, well-known food into the because Canadians love almonds.
We do.
It's a wonderful product.
Yes.
So Spain, second producer, world largest producer of
Second largest.
the second.
Am I going to guess California is first?
You better.
All right.
So California is because they have massive extension.
Yes.
Spain is the second largest.
My uncle has it. Well, he's and his children have an almond farm.
So
yes.
Yes. Excellent. So we are working again with another co-op. So this co-op is called Bioterra.
Mm-hmm.
It's for, I would say, around 600 farmers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly the same idea olive oil.
Yeah.
Every single farmer owns between 300 and 1,000 almond trees.
Wow.
And they bring these almonds to the co-op.
Yeah. Now, I'm just going to ask you, is it this concept of co-ops, has this been in Spain a long time? Is this a traditional way of...
It's a very European thing.
Very European. Okay.
So in the sense of co-op is the sense of union and be more full in the market.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's a sense of in Europe it's very well established.
Yeah.
In France, in Italy,
Yes.
that when the farmers they are stronger,
Yes.
and they can, when they go to the markets, they can sell their produce in a way more
Yes.
without being passing with brokers or
Yes.
middle people.
Yeah.
So this is why we like these kind of co-ops, because if that the farmers at the end of the day they are getting a fair salary, and they're having a, as we expect for us, they are having a very well life.
Good. And that's what it's all about.
Exactly.
What could be finer than raising a family in an olive grove or an almond farm? Yeah, that's great. Glad to hear that. We've brought in your almonds, and I've been munching on them. What's different about yours from, say, California almonds?
Well, it does not have a pasteurization law, first of all. So when you say raw, they actually are raw. Whereas like about 20 years ago, there was one case of salmonella poisoning in California, and ever since then they've required that all almonds and nuts, anything produced in California, be pasteurized.
Let me just mention some. Folks, did you know that almonds from California are pasteurized? Even if it says raw on it, it's still pasteurized. And by pasteurized, I mean this. Pasteurized, no, pasteurized. So this is beautiful. The products from Maine are not pasteurized.
No.
So they have, in my opinion, a bit stronger flavor than the Californian
Absolutely.
almond, which is a little too, in my way of thinking, it's the California almonds, whereas the Spanish almonds they've got more flavor to them.
Yeah,
Is that right, or am I just imagining?
You are absolutely right. They have a higher amount of oils and
Yeah, they have a lot of enzymes,
Mm-hmm.
and then they could be seen as a little bit fattier, like because we also have organic almond cake with the same almonds, and when you put them side by side with the California almonds, they almost look more like it's kind of sticky because it's just because they're high in fat, like good healthy nice fats that nuts are known for.
What omega-3 or what? Do you know if it's part of that family or not?
I don't. It's not omega-3, unfortunately. That you would want to go for like flaxseed.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know the fat composition.
Yes. Okay.
But I know that within moderation they are definitely, even with healthy fats, you want to eat in moderation. But
you'll find out.
Unless you're on the keto diet, then
you'll find out for us, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. So, did you bring any? Do you have any with you? Did I run and grab a handful? No. I'm gonna go grab some, folks. You'll just have it out, and we'll do a little dance here.
Absolutely.
So carry on. You can keep talking.
Another thing that in Spain with the almond harvest, Spain is very active in protecting bees and the wildlife. Some actually aerial spray in the almond areas, like in California. California, you might have an organic grove next to a conventional grove, but in California, they do heavy aerial spraying for pesticides that Spain doesn't.
In addition to that, the European regulation for these kind of pesticides, the standards are really high. So the difference with the California almonds, we can say, really considerable. Yeah.
All right. Now, let's see if we can show these. Is that all, Adam? A little closer?
Yeah, please. Higher.
Higher? Good. All right. So,
almonds are from the variety is called Largueta.
Guara.
Oh, Guara. Sorry, Guara. Guara. It's a
That's a
variety.
bird, isn't it?
Guara.
Oh, guara.
Guara.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. So they are big almonds. They are oversized. They are a bit over 14. We call over 14.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very big size. You can find here in Dean. You can buy in bulk, and they are phenomenal to make almond milk.
Yes.
They are phenomenal to eat raw. They're phenomenal to use as a quick snack.
Yeah.
You don't need like a lot of almonds, so you need like if you want for feel satisfied.
I could see moms sending their kids to school, a little baggie of almonds and raisins.
And they are phenomenal.
Yeah.
They are phenomenal. And in the way that they can find here in Surrey Natural Food is phenomenal.
Yeah.
They sit back and they can use much as they want.
Buy it in bulk from Surrey Natural Foods, folks. We'll have them here for you. Okay. Anything else you'd like to say about your almendras?
No, like Jose said, they're phenomenal for making your own almond milk, which you want anyway. It's a very extremely easy thing to do. And the almond milk, a lot of almond milks have a lot of different additives and things.
Yeah.
And not that many almonds. To be
That's
honest.
this has been my
So-
question. Can you answer this for me? How many almonds will you find in a in a jar of whichever almond?
That is a very commercial thing.
Well, I actually read an article in a magazine that said, do you know there's only 6 actual almonds inside that, like, little,
The
what
1
is it,
liter?
a 1 liter Tetra Pak or whatever?
Folks, 6
So-
almonds, and what are you paying for almonds? $2.49 or whatever. Get your own almonds and make your own.
Yeah, and then you when you make things at home by yourself,
Yeah.
you just like spoilage. Like sometimes I'll buy a liter just for one little recipe, and then it'll
Yeah.
go bad in my fridge. Whereas when I make just enough for what I need to use it for, and
Yes.
then you always have something fresh.
And nowadays, with the new Vitamix that is in their
Yeah.
own houses, it's extremely easy
To
Yeah.
make nut milk.
to make almonds. Very easy.
So thinking about bringing in or one question I have, Jose. I did get a box of pre-packaged almond green bag. Do you still have those, or was that just a discontinued item?
we are discontinuing these ones because
Okay.
Sandy and I, we are going to create our own brand.
Oh, cool.
So,
Talk about that. What
yeah.
are your plans?
So our plan, we want to create, we're in the process right now to create our own brand because we want to introduce into the Canadian market European products in a very high quality.
Yes.
Sometimes Europeans, they have a lack of knowledge of the Canadian market. So because they are used to these massive populations of Europe, and they have these big markets that we don't have.
Right.
So sometimes selling Canada is really
Yes.
because we have lots of options and we don't have a big population.
Right.
So Sandy and I, we want to launch by the end of the summer
Yeah.
our own brand, more focus for West people.
Oh,
Mhm.
excellent.
Some of the branding, that, for example, we've imported these organic balsamic vinegars, which only have 2 ingredients. By the way, wine vinegar and grape must. That's all a balsamic should ever have.
What is
Has-
grape must?
Must is just the concentration of grape. So
Mhm.
it's
Does it
basically
include the skin?
it's the pulp. Yeah.
The pulp. All
Yeah.
right.
So this one has no added sulfites either, which is really nice. And the only thing is we're finding with some of our beautiful we bring from Europe is that the branding doesn't stick out properly or give a story to the that Canadians are used to and that they look for.
Yes.
So that's why we are creating a better brand to tell the consumer more information about the products.
Yeah. I get that maybe you took this kind of marketing in school. You go to school for marketing, Sandy?
Yeah.
Oh, tell us a little bit. What?
I took marketing courses in BCIT.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in 2007. It was actually even before Facebook and social media
Yeah.
were very popular. So
Yeah.
now the world of thing is completely different.
Yes.
But the basic principles of product marketing
Yeah.
are still like in going. So,
Yeah.
it's just about we're just trying to learn, and we're new to the food industry. So it's constantly learning about what the Canadian consumers want, what there's market, and then where do we have place to fit in good, healthy, organic products while keeping this low and affordable and approachable
Yes.
for everybody.
Very good. Now, you mentioned what Canadians want. You know, just as my thought is many times consumers don't know what they want. They want to hear. They're listening, and when you go to a health show, I know you're not a big fan of the consumer health shows, but I loved health show. And a show put me in front of an audience, and a happy man. But don't you find people are asking you, well, what can I do with this, or what is
Absolutely.
So they're looking to people like you
Yeah.
who are bringing in this superior line of products to tell them how it can be used, what the nutritional benefits, and I appreciate you've mentioned of times the health benefits. For example, just by soaking them, you suddenly boost up the nutrient values. So it seems that this is an important part of marketing, isn't it? Really, connecting with the people we're doing here. That's why I do this Facebook broadcast, so that you connect directly with us, and we can connect directly with you. Unfortunately, I can't read the comments on the sidebar. I don't know if there's been a lot of comments. Do you see? Are there any comments there that you can read out to us?
Not really. But little titles hard for me.
Hard for you to read. Okay, so no problem. Yeah. Okay. Well, so once again, this is great. So we've got your olive oil. Everything is going nicely with that. Just some changes to the label. The price side is going to remain consistently high.
Absolutely.
We've got the almonds, which are you planning to do something besides bulk? Are you planning to package up in?
Yeah.
Will that be part of your line?
It will be.
Yeah.
In fact, the first products of our brand consists of almonds, a vegan line of covered almonds, dark chocolate with coconut, caramelized, and then a matcha tea flavored, which is amazing, with real organic matcha tea, which is extremely high in antioxidants, as everybody knows. Again, it's like that bitter quality. Anything bitter, you kind of know is better. Dark chocolate, you hear is like more bitter. It's better for you and less in sugar.
Folks, bitter is better. Bitter is good for the liver. It stimulates bile production, among other things.
Yeah. Bitter coffee, the matcha tea, that bitter quality is extremely good for you. Bitter olive oil is actually good for you. It's really, really easy. So
it means that is alive.
Yes.
Means that it's olive oil.
Yes.
The olive oil, when you taste some olive oil that it doesn't have any single taste.
and the waxy taste, almost like the kind of description of how you know your olive oil is rancid. Is it, if it tastes like, or kind of like tastes more like wax, like doesn't have a taste. It's not rancid.
And so that's the point when Sandy was mentioning oxidization of these. You know they're oxidized when they're rancid. You can taste that. And here's the interesting thing, folks. As you get to a better quality product, your taste buds will recognize what is good. And you'll find you will just go away from those types of products, gravitate towards the higher quality products. But because people in general, I don't think that the natural food industry is that way. We tend to look for the better quality. But people who are not used to that will settle for very poor quality, even though the taste is very poor. Sorry, go ahead. What else did you want to say on that? Anything else?
No, I just, it's just like, full flavored. Everything we want to bring is going to be natural, traceable ingredients, good ingredients.
Trace ingredients. Tell us about that.
Well, the thing is like we're a country that relies heavily on imported products, whether it comes from the States, from China, Europe. And then it's come to the point that we're so used to processed foods that come out of a packaging that sometimes you look at the ingredients and you don't even know what they are or even how to pronounce them and stuff.
Right.
And I think now the big trend is going, that whole like free from trend. You're seeing more, the lists are getting shorter and shorter, going back, to what it's supposed to be.
Right.
So we look for any we source or sell or import. Even we help with products from Canada. Ingredient will be as small as possible, and the ingredients have to be recognizable, and they have to have a trace. They have to have a source. But if I can't go back and say to my supplier, well, where does this ingredient come from? Then it's not a product that I want to sell or eat or.
And nowadays, the ability to even test products. I've heard now that that in the very near future, you'll be able to take a device with you into the store or an app on your cell phone, and you can check qualities of products just by this app. I don't know a lot about it, but these are tools that are very important for consumers because we have to come from. And again, I come back to this. Where are you shopping? Do you owner of this shop where you shop? Because if you don't, then you got a problem, Houston. If you don't know and you can't ask that person, well, where does this come from? Well, how is this? And as Jose pointed out, that he noticed this with the other one, he noticed that when people come here, we give them a lot of information because knowledge is power. When you know things, then you are not eaten and ripped off. Mm-hmm. How much time have we got left? What are we at there?
We've got 3 more minutes. Maybe
3 more minutes.
Talk about your balsamic vinegar.
Yeah, did you finish talking about it or?
Well, when the same time that we started the company, we started with olive oil. And we thought, oh, we should have something else, vinegar, because it goes so well. Yeah. Again, vinegar is another very fraudulent kind of thing because everybody wants to put DOP Modena on their vinegars. So Modena is the region of Italy where balsamic originated. Okay. It's DOP of origin is on many different products. You can have DOP olive oils, cheeses, meats, and then of course the wines for sure. Yes. And then of course vinegars as well. So vinegars that come from Italy, from Modena, are supposed to be the higher quality, the most natural, but now it seems that they used to be the most expensive, but now you can find $2 vinegars like DOP Modena. Yeah. So I don't know what they require. Maybe there's like 2% DOP Modena. It doesn't make sense. The price doesn't match. But anyway, we want a really pure, beautiful, natural vinegars. And when people try this vinegar, they love the taste. It's actually a younger vinegar. But the price is phenomenal for the quality. And you can taste such a clean vinegar quality. There's also a apple cider infused with organic honey because a lot of people love apple cider, but they don't love the taste. Yeah. Apple cider is probably one of the most common health foods that I've seen across the board. Yes. Doesn't matter who you are, your background. When we do shows, people tell us all the time, I drink apple cider. It's extremely common. But some people don't like the taste. They can't stomach it. So one good way is with honey.
Available here.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we started with, these 2 products, and now we have over 100 SKUs.
In addition to that, we could have another product cooking just for
all right.
balsamic vinegar. It's another industry, as Sandy said, like a small, very, very tiny small industry is producing millions and millions of liters under IGP stamp. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Something is wrong.
Something is rotten in Denmark. Folks, we enjoyed this show tonight. There's the little glitches here and there and jumping around and whatnot, but I want to thank you for coming in and doing the video, the camera work tonight. We want to make this more and more interesting, more and more accessible. We've got to figure out a way that I can look at the screen and be able to read comments and so forth. So once again, 10 o'clock tonight to put in that little message to me that's, I want Sandy and Jose's olive oil. Now, if you would prefer to have the balsamic vinegar, you can say that, one or the other. So you choose which one you want. And I might even part with a little bit of the almonds as well. But I really want to thank you, Sandy and Jose. And we didn't get a chance to ask you. I was going to put you on the spot and have you tell us how you met. So I'm going to do it right now. How did you meet?
In the library.
In the library.
In downtown Vancouver.
Downtown Vancouver.
Yeah.
So so I came to Canada like a few years ago. And I met this lovely girl. And
he was studying English. I was actually getting a book about business. I was also at that time researching a trip to Spain because I wanted to do Camino de Santiago.
Yes.
And so we kind of bumped into each other. He noticed I was reading a book about Spain. He said, that's my country. I said, oh. And I said, I would love to chat about, have you done the Camino? He had done it.
He had? You have?
Yeah.
Isn't it 1,500 kilometers?
Yeah, you can do little portions of it.
Starts in France and ends in the in the west, I would say.
The west?
just to let you know we're past 1 hour, but
Okay.
Yeah,
continue.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna cut it, but we got to hear the story, the rest of this.
So and then we started, and then we got married, Sandy and I, in a beautiful Galeano Island.
Mhm.
And now I feel very blessed to live in this, as you said,
Yes,
this beautiful province, BC,
yes, yes,
and trying to bring the best for the people from here.
yes. Very good.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thanks,
the
Steve.
pleasure is mine. And once again, folks, for tuning in. And we will see you again next week, same time, same station. While I will let you know once we've arranged a time to have Jose or Sandy come in and do some demo products. And we'll look forward to that as well.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you all, folks.